What's going on, guys? GemMint here with today's new comic book day reviews. It's Wednesday, August 25th, and I gotta say, I thought it was an excellent week for comics this week. So many great issues that I'm gonna give you my thoughts on as spoiler-free as possible. Before we get started though, if you're enjoying these videos, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. You know, we have a big giveaway going on for our next subscriber milestone of 150K. If you hang around to the end of the video, I'll give you more details on that. As you can see, I've rearranged the desk. I got all the omnibus behind me. If you're looking to pick up any of these collected editions, you got to check our sponsor, Cheap Graphic Novels. Cheap Graphic Novels is your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They pride themselves on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. CGN is excited to announce that they're now taking pre-orders. They're making it easier for you to ensure that you don't miss out on the hottest releases. Cheap Graphic Novels is currently running a special promotion for the Geminites. If you're a first-time customer, let them know that you were referred by Mint Collectibles at checkout and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. This promotion is only valid for the United States. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts and quality shipping and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. Alright guys, before we get into this week's books, I gotta talk about Stray Dogs. If you guys watch the channel, you might have heard me say that I do get the image PDFs early, and when there's a new #1 that comes out, I kind of flip through it, or skim through it, I guess, to see if it's something that looks interesting. Now, Stray Dogs, when I first saw issue #1, I was like, oh, what is this, like 101 Dalmatians or something? It looked like a Disney cartoon, so I just skipped it. Quickly realizing that I made a mistake, especially when I started seeing the horror variants and everybody in the comments talking about it. So I said that I would get caught up once the trade paperback came out. Believe it or not, the writer of Stray Dogs, Tony Fleece, reached out to us and they shot us a PDF of the first trade paperback, this first arc, and I ripped through it. I absolutely loved Stray Dogs. It was like, yeah, 101 Dalmatians, but like the cover says by Forbes here, mixed with Silence of the Lambs. You have these dogs that Tony Fleece has kind of given them an explanation of how their memory works and how dogs have short-term memory and they don't remember long-term, mixing it in with like this murder mystery. And then you have like this pacing that can get kind of frantic where you just want to read the next page. And I blazed through this whole thing in one sitting. Absolutely love Stray Dogs. I'm caught up and I'll continue to read this as single issues as they come out, as long as the series is, you know, ongoing. All right, so let's continue with what I read digitally with Image. Department of Truth. This is issue 12 by James Tynion IV. He's joined by Simmons and Bidikar. So Department of Truth, man, it really reads like a novel. If you think about the artwork, it's very abstract. It's kind of like this unique painted style artwork. And it just kind of is telling the story of Agent Cole, and it's tying in the Department of Truth to this Black Hat organization to his childhood. So a lot of interesting stuff. It's really like a mind type of story, and it's interesting to see where it goes. You have the little flashback of his childhood and it looks like cartoony, and then into the real world it's very grainy and adult-like. But I did enjoy this issue. It can lose you at times. I had to go back because I read this a couple days ago to see what it was all about, and yeah, it looks like we're having some revelations on Cole's past. All right, let's move on to a new #1, Echo Lands issue 1. This is by J.H. Williams III. He's joined by W. Hayden Blackman, Dave Stewart, and Todd Klein. I'm not sure if this is a series that had already been out before or is this just a brand new book, but what was crazy about this book was the artwork. The entire issue is told over double page spreads. So when I read it in a PDF, it only looked like there was like 10 pages, but everything was double paged and they used every bit of that page. The artwork is mind-blowing. It takes you on an adventure in itself. Like, I can't even really recall the plot of this issue. I just remember the artwork being so crazy. Think like Promethea, like that type of art style, but just bigger and filling up that page. You have this little Red Riding Hood type of, I don't know what she's, a mercenary or an assassin or something, that's kind of futuristic kind of time period that we're in. But the artwork really blew me away. It was really out there. It's worth checking it out just for that. Moving on over to Top Cows Siphon with issue 2. This is by Meany, Ashraf, Edwards, and Khalees. I didn't really love issue 1, but I gave issue 2 a chance, and it's about this guy. He's got these powers where he can siphon your feelings. He could take away your hurt and pain, which causes hurt and pain in himself, leaving the other person happy. And in this issue, you can kind of see this person behind him on the cover teaching him that he can do the opposite. He can take their happiness and feel elation. But of course, there's consequences that come with that as well. I rather enjoyed the issue. I think I liked it better than issue 1. I'll probably continue to read it, man. Kind of some sad points in here, but overall, I liked it. And then let's go with one of the big boys of this week, King Spawn issue 1. This has multiple stories within it, oversized issue, and yeah, I definitely dug it. I enjoyed the main Spawn story, kind of high stakes with killing children to get Spawn's attention. You've got this new type of angel human hybrid character that's introduced. What is his name? Metatron. And then you have all these little side stories that all connect to what Todd's building with this Spawn universe to, I guess, have more titles than just Spawn come out. He even has a Haunt story. I remember picking up Haunt after it came out, and I didn't know that it tied in with the Spawn universe, so maybe let me know in the comments, is that new to this story? So you got the Haunt story, you've got a Gunslinger Spawn story, you've got the Hero story, so you get a lot of bang for your buck in this issue. Mostly just setting up who King Spawn is, and it's going to throw you for a loop. It's not as obvious as the title sounds. So who is King Spawn? You got to read to find out. All right, sticking with indies, let's go over to Boom Studios with Something is Killing the Children. We're on issue 19, James Tynion IV, Werther Deladria, and Miguel Muerto. Amazing issue. Almost gave this one pick of the week. Similar to last issue, Tiny is doing a great job of storytelling with dialogue and then letting the art speak for itself. We're in Erica's trial. We kind of get a little behind the scenes of what goes down at the House of Slaughter with the younger recruits and the black masks and the white masks and the hierarchy. Art style very gritty, very eerie, going into this plight that Erica has to go through. We see how it plays out. I couldn't have asked for anything better. This is like the second arc of Something is Killing the Children, and like I said, it's breathed whole new life into it. There's so many possibilities where you can go with the House of Slaughter, and just definitely enjoyed this issue. Moving on over to Vault Comics, we've got Barbaric issue 3. This is by Morrissey, Gooden, Duke, and Campbell. So this is the final issue of book 1. Book 2 is coming, but this main arc, or first arc I should say, is finished. They killed it, man. I loved issue 1. Issue 2, I felt like slowed down a little bit. Issue 3 came right back to where issue 1 was. It's vulgar, it's gory. You have Owen the Barbarian with this talking axe who gets drunk off the blood of his enemies. This witch that they've encountered that have now formed an unlikely alliance. So killed it, loved it. I love the enemies. I love the pacing, the gritty line work, the nice vibrant colors. Definitely enjoying Barbaric, and I can't wait for book 2 to start with issue 4. Back on over to Boom Studios with Dark Blood issue 2. This is by Latoya Morgan, Walt Barna, Moises Hidalgo, and AHG. So this is a 6-issue series. I liked issue 1. Issue 2 felt a little slow to me, man. It really just focused around our main character, an African-American family living in the 1950s, which obviously was very difficult. Very little about his kind of abilities that he finds out during the war, although we do get kind of an origin of how that happens here in this book. It just took a while to get there. I thought it was rather slow, but I still do want to pick it up. I'll probably knock out the 6-issue series. I think the art style is clean. The aesthetics look good. The characters are interesting, and the situations are not only interesting, but like, dang, that's how stuff really was back then, man. It's kind of raw. This one kind of let me down a little bit, but we'll see what happens next issue. All right, on to Image Skybound, Oblivion Song, issue 33, Robert Kirkman, Lorenzo De Felici. I think this just got announced that it's in development for a TV show or something like that, and rightfully so. Kirkman knows how to adapt his comics into television shows so successfully. This issue was great. We know we have this big Kuthal invasion, and this is kind of like the resolution of that, kind of trying to end this war between humans and the Kuthal. How do we find common ground? But of course, it's not as easy as that, right? You get the same great art style, the differences between Earth and Oblivion, people traveling to Oblivion that haven't been there for a long time. I thought that was a touching scene. People that have never been there, that have only heard about it, and seeing how they're reacting to being in a different dimension. This has always been a great book. It's rather fast-paced. The colors are vibrant as well. the Kuthal aliens, or whatever you want to call them, are kind of hard to make out at times, but still a solid issue. I've been digging this one from the start. All right, now we're on to DC. So let's start with this oversized black label Superman vs. Lobo by Tim Seeley, Beatty, Aldolfo, and Prianto. So I don't know, I have mixed feelings about this one. It was fun. They definitely utilized the magazine style format, and it's just flashy kind of artwork all over the place. More comic booky. When I say flashy though, like it's vibrant in its colors. A lot going on. Tim Seeley essentially writing a social media themed story with hashtags and how that can kind of cause an uproar in society. That I don't know if I was really digging that much. I think the end of this book had a really strong hook that, even though I felt like this was a really long issue, and when I finally got to the end, the hook had me like, dang, I want to see what happens now. Superman and Logo are in an interesting place, each in an interesting place at the end of this issue that I'm going to continue reading. I do dig the magazine style format. I noticed that while reading this. The story wasn't my favorite, but it was all right. All right, on to Wonder Woman 778. I'm going to see this arc out, y'all. This is by Clunan, Conrad Moore, and Bonvillain. So here's the thing, though. They went back to like the art style that I was digging in this issue. And I did like this issue. Wonder Woman and Siegfried are still going through following this evil doppelganger version of Wonder Woman. Although, I don't know what prompts any writer to say, you know what I want to do? I want to put Batmite in this issue. Like, come on, man. You put this little Batmite part, and it's like, you totally throw off the tone of the story, in my opinion. But I think that the arc has suffered from that from the beginning. Like, you have this strong, like, Asgardian, Valhalla type battling stuff, and then you have this fairy tale aspect, or this Batmite aspect, which I'm like, dude, you're losing me with the tone of this book. But I'm going to see it through. I'm not reading the backup story, Adventures of Young Diana, but I thought this was a step up, whereas I felt like the arc has been on a downward slope for a few issues. Speaking of which, Batman and Superman issue 21 by Yang, Reese, Mickey, and Rich. We have the end of this whole kind of worlds, I don't even know what you want to call it, this big villain, movie reel, able to manipulate timelines and try to merge them together for that perfect one, which means he's going to destroy all of the other ones. I like the art style here. I liked this Batman and Superman from different worlds working together with Robin, and things are different. Like, Batman and Robin don't know about the Fortress of Solitude. I don't know. It was just a unique interaction, and being that we have multiple timelines, you can kind of guess what happens with meeting others from those timelines. So I liked the arc. I liked the villains finale and what happens there with, what is it, Arthur Io or something like that. I can never remember it, but this was another one that the arc started really strong, and then it was like, what the hell's going on? And then boom, I think it had a solid ending. Moving on over to Robin with issue 5. This is by Joshua Williamson, Melenkov, and Guerrero. I thought this was an excellent issue. So good, man. Damian Wayne running around with all the other Robins. You have Nightwing, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd as Red Hood. You have Tim Drake, Stephanie as Batgirl. That's her name, right? Really touching, really family-oriented, and leading up into this Mortal Kombat type tournament where the stakes are finally going to be real, the League of Lazarus tournament. So from beginning to end, I dug this issue. I like the family aspect, the Jason Todd, Damian Wayne scene, the Dick Grayson, Damian Wayne scene. I'm getting tongue-tied over here. Great issue, man. They really killed it on this one. Best one so far of the series. Maybe issue 1 was up there as well, but I really did like this one. Then we got Superman in Action Comics. We're on issue 1034 by Johnson, Deuce, and Lucas. I thought this one was just okay. I like seeing these lost Kryptonians kind of unleashing here, if you will. Kind of going a little me against the world. Kind of hard to remember more than that happened here. The arc is losing me a little bit. It has some good highlights in this issue. The artwork is great. I didn't read the Midnighter backup story with Mr. Miracle. I kind of flipped through it, and I remember why I stopped reading it to begin with. But action was just okay. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't as big as a lot of the other stuff this week. On a slow week, it would have been a banger. Like Batman and Detective Comics. I don't know why. I just really love this run, man. Especially this issue, 1042, Tamaki, Bogdanovic, Enriquez, and Belair. dude, they killed this. The art style, the line work was amazing, but the coloring was crazy, especially with Batman, who I'm not going to talk about what happened. This will end up probably on the top 10 at the end of the week, and I'll give spoilers. But for now, the resolution with Vile, what happened from the aftermath of the last issue, that big hook at the end, transferring over here, wrapping up the whole Worth and the murder of his daughter Sarah Worth. I love how they ended the arc. A lot of arcs I feel like ended this week. The backup story, Road to Task Force Z by Rosenberg, Rayner, and Rodriguez. I thought it was cool as well. I mean, I really liked how Jason Todd is portrayed, the conversation he's having with this reporter. He's giving her the breadcrumbs, trying to look into, I don't even remember what the crime was, but I did like the interaction at the diner with Red Hood and the reporter. It was pretty good. All right, then we're on to Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue 2 by Tom Taylor, Timms, and L-Tob. So I really enjoyed this issue reading it. You know, there's things about it that I don't really like, that aren't really for me, like the green-haired guy trying to be a school shooter. That was kind of like whack, but I do like the interaction between Jonathan and Clark. You got to remember that we've already seen this future in Future State, so this is all about how Jonathan Kent becomes Superman. I thought the art style was great. I thought there were some touching moments here. And basically the premise of this is like Superman didn't really do much, right? He just put out fires. He didn't make any changes. And Superman kind of explains his reasoning in this issue. And I thought it made sense. And it makes sense why Jonathan Kent will be the new Superman. Now, I know there's going to be controversy about this run. I've already started seeing articles about what Tom Taylor's plans are for Jonathan Kent. We'll have to see if that's what happens and if that's going to make the story better or worse. But for issue 2, I really liked it. All right, then we got Superman 78, issue 1. This one's by Venditti, Torres, and Belair. I love this issue, and I'm not even a child of the Superman movies. That was a little bit before my time, and going back to try to watch them, they always looked a little bit dated. So I'm a huge fan of this issue, not even really being a big fan of the Christopher Reeve Superman stuff. I thought the artwork was refreshing. I liked the Brainiac story. I liked the characters. I like how even little kind of nods, like when something shows up in the sky and the hot dog vendor squeezes the mustard on the guy's shirt, just like little touches like that. It was a fun, refreshing comic. I tweeted it right away when I got done reading it. I almost gave it pick of the week, but there's one in here that really just hit me a little bit harder. This was a great issue. I think it was way better than the Batman 89. And then, speaking of Batman, Batman Reptilian issue 3, Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp, incredible. I love it. Liam Sharp, I was unaware of Liam Sharp before Batman Reptilian. He's been killing the painted art style here. He has this one like city scene where you have like a wet road and a car, and you see the reflection. I'm like, how the hell do you even do that? The story is crazy, man. There's some type of like reptilian predator that's taken out Batman's rogues gallery. Joker accusing Batman of being the one. Like, yeah, really convenient that it's just taking out all your enemies, but it's not going to get me. Awesome issue between the writing, between the dialogue, the gloominess, the dreariness of this issue. I love Reptilian, and I'm excited to see who this villain is. Supposedly it's somebody new. All signs point to Killer Croc, but some of them don't. So can't wait to see what happens. And finally, on to Marvel. And Thor's out, and it's not my pick of the week. Thor 16, Donny Cates, Bandini, Diamaco, and Wilson. I dug the issue. It just wasn't as heavy hitting. Now, Donny Cates does pick up from the little strands that he left off for the aftermath of the Black Winter. Awesome to see that. These dreams that are kind of haunting Thor and him trying to talk it out. Thor's acting a little out of character in this issue, I would say. Who is he walking with? I'm not sure who the Valkyrie is. That one I can't really tell you. But of course, as you can see with the cover, Thor versus Odin, that kind of plays a little part here. But I think the biggest draw in here, the dialogue is refreshing. I like Thor in New York. He tries to use a New York accent instead of his Asgardian accent. Donny Cates is having fun. His storytelling, I'm always going to be a fan of. I enjoy the way that he tells a story. It's refreshing. It's fun. This one wasn't big and epic on a grand scheme, although it's teasing that it's gonna be, so I did still like Thor. On to Darth Vader issue 15. This is by Pac and Nenso and Keith. I've been a big fan of this run since the beginning. I did feel a little bit lost here with this War of the Bounty Hunters tie-in because I'm not reading the other issues or the main story, but Darth Vader is a complete badass in this issue like he's been in this whole series. except I guess when he's groveling to the Emperor. I like this Assassin's Choice storyline, this kind of sidekick, if you will, of Darth Vader being put to the test. Always a very fast-paced issue with this Darth Vader run. They're on to Extreme Carnage. This is the Riot issue, which is part 5 of 8 by Wong, Gallant, and Campbell. I love Extreme Carnage. They're killing it. I think it's better than Absolute Carnage by Donny Cates. This one was a little bit slower than all of the other issues so far, although we do get a lot of great stuff with Andy, with Flash Thompson. Very little stuff with Riot, surprisingly. It's kind of like, it's called Riot, but it really should just be called Extreme Carnage issue 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, some interesting stuff with Andy that I don't want to spoil from the last issue, so we'll leave that alone. I still really dug it. This has been shaping up to be an awesome miniseries. All right, then, Kyle Higgins back on Marvel with Dark Hawk issue 1. I guess this is the variant. It's not showing me who the creative team is here. This was a good first issue. Kyle Higgins, he's able to tug at the heartstrings. I've noticed that, man. He's done it in Radiant Black. He's done it in Power Rangers. This is a pretty sad origin story for this new Darkhawk, this new Raptor, if you will, which I don't think they mentioned yet, but they do go out of their way to say, oh, isn't that Darkhawk, but it looks like a different guy, and it's kind of a different suit. So an origin story of how this teenager gets the Darkhawk power. And yeah, it's a heart-wrencher, a tear-jerker, if you will. On to Amazing Fantasy issue 2. My shop did me dirty with his ugly-ass variant, man. I got to try to get that regular A cover, which you guys are seeing on the screen here. You know what? I really liked issue 1. It had an awesome hook to it. I don't know if I was really digging issue 2, man. Like, you have these 3 stories being told at once with Spider-Man, Captain America, and Black Widow as you've never seen them before, in an environment that you've never seen them before. Although Cap's been in something similar, I would say, in the Remender run. But I just don't know if I'm really feeling it. It felt more Spider-Man geared. I don't know, the Black Widow stuff felt forced. Like, what is she gonna be into, an arranged marriage with someone, but she's gonna fall in love with a Minotaur instead? I don't know, there was some craziness going on here. I wasn't really feeling this issue. All right, then we're on to Alien issue 6. Philip Kennedy Johnson, Salvador La Roca, Guru EFX, another arc ending issue. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. The way it wrapped up, it felt like the movie. You feel the suspense. You feel the thrill going on there. There's actually some alien xenomorph mythos that are sprinkled in here that I don't think we've ever heard of from any movies or any other comics. So some interesting additions to the lore of the xenomorph. I thought that was really cool, and this like kind of foreboding villain in the background, we delve into that a little bit more. Sets up great for the next arc. I hope it's coming. I'm assuming it's coming. And Hyuk Lee's been killing the covers. Yo, love this issue. Amazing Spider-Man 72, Nick Spencer. He's joined with a team of creators, Carlos Gomez, Ferreira, Sabatini, and Sinclair. This is a Sinister War tie-in. This issue was okay. It wasn't like a big brouhaha like the last issue of Sinister War was. This one actually... Wow, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but it kind of really shows who's behind the whole Kindred thing. How did that even come into play? Very interesting. And if I talk about it in spoilers sometime, or you guys might want to in the comments, I don't even want... You guys know what I want to say, right? I don't want to say it for spoiler reasons, but the person who's behind it all, yeah. It was cool. It was a good issue. It was probably one of the stronger ones because this Spider-Man run has been very up and down with each issue. This was one of the uppers. All right, guys. Then I decided to try Winter Guard issue 1. This is by Ryan Cady, Jan Balsadua, and Federico Blee. I really enjoyed this issue. If you guys enjoyed the Black Widow movie at all, this basically just is pulled out of that movie onto the page here. You get this kind of Russian version of the Avengers, more of Yelena, more of Red, the Red Guardian, and yeah, it played out like the Red Avengers, if you will. I thought it was good though. I liked the dialogue. I liked the story. I didn't feel too lost, even though it really kind of comes out of the pages of Avengers that I'm not reading, that I do plan on jumping into with issue 50. Yeah, I thought this was a good issue, man. If you're interested at all in Black Widow, Yelena, and stuff like that, pick this one up. All right, then before we get to the pick of the week, we got Wolverine 15, Benjamin Percy, Kubert, and Martin. I don't know how I feel about this one. It's okay. It's part 2, basically, of what happened in last issue. Wolverine versus this blob type of pirate who tried to raid the Marauder. As you can see with the cover, Wolverine kind of skin being peeled back. That does kind of happen in the issue, so it's pretty interesting to see. Although I don't know much more that happens with that. Kind of another callback to the Ten of Swords. How do you say it? Mamorusu blade, and tying into who Wolverine fought during that tournament. So yeah, it was a pretty good issue. It doesn't feel like a Wolverine run. Somebody should give Wolverine something that's just what's the word I'm looking for? It's just self-enclosed or self-contained. That doesn't tie into anything. Maybe we'll see that after this whole kind of Inferno thing. All right, guys, and now on to my pick of the week. I didn't even know this was going to be a thing. I don't look too far ahead in the solicits, so I had no idea Chip Zdarsky was going back to his Spider-Man life story, the what-if type of Spider-Man story before Spider-Sense. With an annual, he's joined by Mark Bagley, Andrew Hennessy, and Matt Miller. So this one is all about James Jonah Jameson, his obsession with Spider-Man that led him to create the Scorpion, which then he took into his own hands and became that robot thing. Remember that from the 60s? So what if like him doing that had real consequences? That's what this kind of what if version of this story is. And man, it was touching as hell. You feel bad for J. Jonah Jameson. He seems like he's got a problem. He's obsessed with blaming everything on Spider-Man. It's really touching as it moves throughout the decades. The art's solid, but really the story's where it's at. And we're talking Chip Zdarsky. He's been killing it, like on literally everything that he's doing. I didn't know this was coming. It came out of nowhere. I was happy to revisit that world that he created, although I wasn't a big fan of the ending of Life Story. I liked the first 3 issues before it kind of went haywire. This one was solid, man. Loved the Life Story annual. And there we go, man. Huge week for comics, but a lot of great titles. There wasn't really anything that I genuinely disliked. Let me know what you guys thought about this week's comics in the comments below. Like I said, we got the big giveaway going on for our next subscriber milestone of 150K. We're giving away a Deja Thor's premium format by Sideshow. Once we hit the milestone, we'll go live, pick a random video where I promoted the giveaway, and use a random YouTube comment generator to draw a worldwide winner. So for better chances, you're going to want to comment on as many videos as you can, and hit the like too, man. It really helps out with the algorithm. I appreciate you guys watching, but don't go anywhere. Check out last week's New Comic Book Day reviews. Speaking of the algorithm, lowest performing New Comic Book Day reviews that I've had in a year or so. So check that one out. Check out the top 10 favorite comics of the week with Rock and Robbie, and stay minty fresh. Peace.